Hey, it's Matthew, Garden Center Manager here at Earthworks. I am back. It's only been a week or so, but we have already received another aquatic order. We have been very busy and the aquatic plants are very popular. I'm holding a really interesting plant right here. It is called commonly as a rain lily, otherwise known as zephyranthes. They come in multiple colors. Looks like this shipment we have white available. These can be grown as an aquatic plant, but they can also be grown in the ground. They are actually a bulb and they will multiply. There aren't a lot of flower bulbs that can be grown here in Northeast Florida because we don't usually get enough chill hours. But the zephyranthes, the rain lily, does quite well in our zone and they will propagate. I know a lot of people, because the leaves look like grass, they will plant these bulbs literally in their lawn, and then after it rains or we have heavy moisture events, they will burst forth with all these flowers and look like a beautiful wildflower meadow right in their lawn. They can mow right over them. The rain lilies don't care. They'll come back like a champ, and then next time they have a growth spurt and we have some moist weather, they'll bloom again. We have another really interesting plant here, especially if you have kids or you just have a person who likes strange and unusual plants. This is one of our carnivorous plants. The Sarracenias are fairly easy to grow in your bog conditions, so in the shallow water of a bog or a water feature that you have, or even in a dish or a bowl that holds water, you can put some ornamental pebbles around it and just grow it by itself as a unique feature on the patio on a table. It does prefer at least 4 hours of sun a day. You can take filtered light throughout the day. It doesn't have to be in sun all day long, but I'd say probably about 4 hours, or at least 4 hours of some pretty strong filtered light will keep this thing happy. Doesn't need any food or feeding. If you feed it, it may not want to put out new growth because the way that it feeds itself is by catching bugs. And so if you fertilize it, it may not have any reason to create new pitchers here to catch the bugs. So if it is outdoors and it's here in Florida, I guarantee you that there are enough insects here to keep this little plant busy. They're a great conversation piece, really different and attractive ornamentally as well. We got a really cool batch of the Redstone Thalya. I mean, come on, the color of those stems alone, that's amazing. That color is amazing. Now these can get quite large. Now you're noticing probably that all of these plants are in these small containers, right? Well, this is not a long-term solution for these plants. They don't want to be in these containers indefinitely. They're not going to grow and thrive to full size if you keep them in these small containers. So in your ponds or in larger containers, they can grow to their full size. But if you keep them here for too long, it's going to stifle their growth and going to be stunted. So I recommend either planting them directly into gravel in the shallow areas of your ponds, water features, or bowls that will hold water. We also sell some aquatic planters that we have here at Earthworks. You can plant them in those after taking them home, but don't keep them in these small pots for too long, otherwise you're going to stunt the growth. The roots won't be able to grow and expand, and the plant will not be able to thrive the way it would outside of this small container, because this thing can get over 6 feet tall, and then it has a really cool flower spike above that, so the overall height with the flower spike can be upwards of 10+ feet. So it's very dramatic. The leaves will get a little bigger too as the plant grows. So it's definitely probably one of the more dramatic aquatic plants that we carry. There's another one over here I really like. This is the water Cala. It's got speckled leaves, tropical type foliage, but John, if you can zoom in here, the flower is amazing. It's got this trumpet type flower that comes straight up from the base of the plant when it's blooming, when it's mature, puts on a show off and on throughout the warm season. This plant is probably what has one of the showiest flowers, one of the largest flowers in the aquatic garden, and is really low maintenance. And when it blooms, you'll want to get your cameras out because it's really, really, really cool. Of course, we have some of our very dramatic foliage. This plant, the foliage itself is pretty amazing. Giant banana type leaves, but this is a Canna Lily. Now cannas can be grown in water, aquatically, marginally, or they can be grown directly in the soil. So the foliage itself is amazing, but the flower forms, this one is actually an orange right here, a really cool orange flower form. They come in reds, pinks, whites, yellows, all different colored flowers. Some of the flowers have speckles on them, some peach colors. They're really, really cool. I think we have one right next to it with the burgundy color foliage, very striking from a distance. You know, sometimes it's hard to get color in the garden. Sometimes flowers can be unreliable, especially if we have heavy rainy seasons that are constantly being knocked off. But adding some colorful foliage to the garden, whether it's your aquatic garden or just in your terrestrial garden in the soil, foliage is a great way to bring colorful interest, and it broadens your palette. The foliage itself is very broad, very striking, and can be seen from a far distance. So if you put them as a backdrop in the garden, the cannas can get a little bit taller, have lower plants in front, and get a nice layered effect with some dramatic foliage in the background. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and on Facebook. Thanks again for joining us. We're gonna have more aquatic shipments here in the future, and as we get new plants in, we're gonna keep you guys updated.